everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Everybody Wants England. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about another three films that a couple of them feature Robert Englund quite prominently. Um, the other, not so much. He basically shows up in a part, just one little part or one little scene as a bad guy. But we're going to be talking about Stay Hungry, St. Ives, and Eaten Alive, all three from 1976. And I'm going to get to those movies here in just a second, but I want to get some, housekeeping stuff out of the way and let you guys know what's coming up for the rest of the week as well as the weekend. So tomorrow night, TJ and I should be covering the last half of the seventh and final season of Tales from the Crypt. Thursday, I'm planning on another Seductive Poison, The Resurgence. Um, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. It may very well be a triple threat review show again. Um, People seem to like those review shows from time to time, and I did get four movies in today. I don't know if I'll be talking about three of those from that group or not, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching the films I got. Friday will be, if all goes well, another midday with Dana and Jay. And we had a couple ideas rolling around, and so I'm going to ask Jay beforehand to see which one he wants to talk about, or if he wants to talk about both, or we want to nix those and talk about something else. Kathy, you're finishing Eating Alive. Yeah, well, I just refreshed myself on Eating Alive, and I really liked it this time better because I haven't seen it in years. And I remember, and I'll get to this more in detail here in a little bit, but I don't remember it being as good the first time around. I really, really enjoyed it this time around. So when you finish it up, when I get to that one, I'd like to hear your thoughts because I'm going to talk about that one last, Kathy. Um, okay, so the weekend we got a couple of watch-alongs and a movie munchies coming up, and Sunday night as well as doing a watch-along. Later on that night, I will be hanging out over in the Dead Pit channel with Uncle Bill, and we're going to be talking about rape revenge movies. So I got a pretty full week and weekend coming up. So Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be Reanimator, followed on Sunday. Also at 7 p.m. Eastern Time will be Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott. So you can look forward to both of those things. Plus me being on Uncle Bill's stream talking about rape revenge flicks. And the movie Munchies, because me and Uncle Bill, one of the movies we'll be talking about will be Deliverance. And I know this is so wrong. I know it's so wrong, but Jay gave me the idea a while back for making Deliverance squeal like a pig, squeal like pigs in a blanket, you know. So I thought, well, since me and Uncle Bill will be talking later that night about Deliverance as one of the films we're going to discuss, um, why don't I just do the pigs in the blanket? And so I do have a thumbnail up on YouTube, and I was talking to Blissful about it last night, and she messaged me back today, and she was laughing. She said it is wrong, but it's like it's so funny. So I will be making Deliverance squeal like pigs in a blanket for the Sunday movie munchie starting around 3 p.m. Eastern time. So now that we got all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, let's get to these movies, shall we? So the only one that I have an actual physical copy is Eaten Alive, and I just got that in on Blu-ray from Arrow Video not too long ago. So the first film I want to talk about is Stay Hungry. Man, Stay Hungry has everybody in this damn film. I was so astounded, and I'm actually gonna bring this up on IMDb because I don't want to forget anybody that was in this film. And Steve told me, he's been telling me this, and I keep not listening to him. He says, just get on IMDb and punch up the movie that you're looking for. And you can usually figure out where you could find it streaming or to rent it or whatever. So this one I was able to watch on Pluto TV. There were commercials, but that did not deter, from the enjoyment that I had. I love this film. I can envision myself buying this film at some point, just because I enjoyed it so much. TJ, you say you dare anyone to fall asleep during the last third of Eaten Alive. Not a quiet movie. No, it is not a quiet movie by any stretch of the imagination. And I believe it's probably, although Stay Hungry gives it a run for its money as far as how much Robert Englund is seen in the film. So let's talk about who all's in Stay Hungry and what it's about. So uh, I don't really agree with the plot synopsis after watching this for Stay Hungry, because they say a so-called special agent infiltrates into the gym, which is targeted by the dirty business fraud. However, we have Jeff Bridges, and like, man, Jeff Bridges was a nice-looking young man back in the day, and I really enjoyed his performance in this. And he plays this young man named Craig Blake. They mainly call him Blake in the film. Everybody just calls him by his last name. And his parents are dead, and he has this great I mean, he's got money through them, and he just stayed in their big old house. And Scatman Crothers plays his, what would you call him? His butler, I guess, but he doesn't really act like a butler per se. But I know not Uncle Bill, but CK was asking, one night what else had Scatman Crothers been in. Well, he's been in this. I know he's been in some other stuff too as well. But we've also got Sally Field in this playing Mary Tate Farnsworth, who begins a relationship with Craig. Um, Arnold Schwarzenegger has a very large part in this as Joe Santo. R.G. Armstrong plays the owner of the gym, Thor Erickson. Robert Englund plays Franklin, and I absolutely love this character. It's so quirky and fun, and he shows up quite a bit in the movie. Joanna Cassidy has a small part as Zoe. Um, who else? Ed Begley Jr.'s in here. Joe Spinell is in this damn movie, guys and gals. Joe Spinell, Mr. Maniac himself, is in this as a pretty shady businessman who tries to get Craig to basically get Thor to sell them the gym. But their business practices are very shady and underhanded. And Joe Spinell, as usual, just oozes sleaze when he's on the screen. But he works in that part. Um, but I must say, even though Jeff Bridges was great in this, Sally Field was great in this, Scatman Crothers, um, all these different people, even Arnold Schwarzenegger was great in this as a guy that's training to be something like Mr. Universe or whatever. Um, and there are plenty of scenes because this takes place down south, and so there are plenty of scenes where uh, people are, dancing and playing fiddles and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of Appalachia country, and it was soothing to watch that and watch the camaraderie amongst those people and all of that. And we even see Craig dancing as they're playing the music, and the relationship between him and Sally Field's character is just it's one of the best romances I've ever seen in a movie. Because she leaves him, and he's just heartbroken. I mean, it really shows raw, true emotion in this movie. And I love it that Robert Englund just keeps popping it. When you think you've seen all you've got to see of him, he pops up again. And he basically introduces himself as the guy that oils Arnold Schwarzenegger up before his shows and before he works out and does all that. And so a really fun movie, but also a heartfelt movie as well. Um, and I enjoyed it not only for Robert Englund's performance in it, which was spot on, but Jeff Bridges is awesome, Sally Field's awesome. Um, all the people, Arnold Schwarzenegger even, like, I'm not a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I like him in several things. However, again, was a movie with a lot of heart, I felt like. And I would wholeheartedly recommend this to anybody. I'm like, here's another one that totally slipped under my radar, and I probably wouldn't have even watched it had I not been trying to watch all these Robert Englund films. So it, you know, seeking out these films because Robert Englund's in them is allowing me to see some movies that I probably would not have seen otherwise. So, you may be wondering what rating I will give to Stay Hungry. I almost gave it a 5, but I'm going to give it 4 deadites out of 5 because I think it deserves every one of those deadites. So that is Stay Hungry. And the next one I want to talk about, it was good, but to me, it was the weakest of the three, and that was St. Ives. And I was like, what? I was wondering why it was called St. Ives. Well, because Charles Bronson's character, his last name is St. Ives. And he is a crime writer who's having a hard time as of late getting his books sold. And so, hey, Blissful. And so he's kind of a down on his luck writer, and his lawyer comes to him and says, I got, here's a business proposition for you. So there's this really rich guy played by John Houseman. This is also a movie that has a lot of different people in it. And I'll go over some of those people that are in this. Just bear with me 1 second here, because again, I don't want to forget anybody. Jacqueline Bisset is also on this. I mean, I've seen Jacqueline Bisset in other movies, and I guess I never really paid attention to how attractive she is. I mean, I'm sure you guys have noticed how attractive she was, especially in her younger days. This was also directed by J. Lee Thompson, as well, uh, who did, Guns of Navarone. He did Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Um, he did Cape Fear, the original Cape Fear from 1962. Um, he did 10 to Midnight. He did a lot of, and I thought he did Happy Birthday to Me. He did. He directed Happy Birthday to Me. He did a lot of stuff with uh, Charles Bronson. Um, so I knew the name J. Lee Thompson. Um, so what else did he do? I said he did Guns of Navarone, Cape Fear, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. He did Huckleberry Finn from 1974, The Reincarnation of Peter Proud from 75. Of course, like I said, he did Happy Birthday to Me in 81, 10 to Midnight, which also has Charles Bronson in it, from 83. Um, Murphy's Law from 86. He did Death Wish 4, The Crackdown. So he did a lot of recognizable stuff. So who all do we have in this? We've got, of course, Charles Bronson as Raymond St. Ives. We got Jacqueline Bisset, John Houseman, Harris Yulin, um, Harry Guardino, Michael Lerner. He plays Raymond St. Ives' lawyer. Elisha Cook Jr. is in this. Daniel Travante. So, yeah, quite a few recognizable names in this one. So, what the lawyer comes to Charles Bronson or St. Ives, he comes to him and he says, your books aren't selling, buddy. You've got you need something to get you some money. And so he agrees to go see John Houseman's character. And John Houseman has had some ledgers, some journals stolen from him. And so Charles Bronson will get, I believe, $10,000 if he is able to get these journals back. So he goes and, gets from one tight squeeze after another. He shows up where the person that's stolen, or one of the people that's stolen the journals, tells him to go, an all night laundry, and a guy ends up dead in a washing machine, or I mean, a dryer rather, with his head twisted around, his neck broken. Um, and then he's in he ends up in another area, and that's where Robert Englund shows up and Jeff Goldblum, both playing bad guys. And for those of you that are connoisseurs of the Death Wish films, you will know that good old Jeff Goldblum was one of those evil murderers and rapists in the first Death Wish movie. So we have both Jeff Goldblum and Robert Englund playing hoods. That's all they're referred to in the credits. They don't even have names. They're just referred to as hoods. But you only see Robert Englund in maybe like a couple of scenes. So if you're wanting to see a lot of Robert Englund, you're not going to find it here. And he doesn't say a whole lot or anything like that. they're just basically trying to kill Charles Bronson. So I liked it for the storyline. Sort of a mystery of who stole these journals, and it's not, it's one of those things where you've got red herrings, but it doesn't turn out to be them. It's supposedly supposed to be somebody that you would never suspect, and I won't give that away in case some of you have not seen it, because there's a few twists and turns along the way. I was not able to find this one for free to watch. I did rent it from, you can rent it from Amazon for like $2.99 or something like that, plus taxes, I think. Um, but I would probably, I would probably give this one a three, maybe a 3.5. Of course, I don't have the halves on there because it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't the best of the bunch either. Let's see. I'm going to read some of y'all's comments in here. Hey, Super Batman Nerd. Yes, remember to slash the like button. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. TJ, I'm doing a little bit of both with that. You asked, are you rating the movies on their own merit or Robert's role and screen time, or all in one? Kind of all in one, TJ, if I was to be totally honest. No, Super Batman Nerd, that was fine. It got a good laugh out of all of us. TJ says, Super Batman Nerd, she's been around the Dead Pit Boys. She's heard worse, I'm guessing. I've heard everything. My last library job I had, I worked with all guys for over a year. And between that and being around my husband, being around the Dead Pit Boys, um, you know, I think I've heard just about everything now. I don't even pay attention to it. It goes in one ear and out the other usually. Um, but so the last one was the one that Kathy was finishing up. Sir Batman Nerd, you say, I didn't hear the fair part and was afraid if I made an incest joke. Oh, gotcha. But anyway, the last one, I actually have a physical copy of this, and I just refreshed myself with this movie right before I got on here, and that's Eaten Alive. And we've got Neville Brain in here as this. He's one crazy guy, not a wild and crazy guy, just a crazy guy with a damn crocodile, and he runs this hotel. And Toby Hooper directs this, and I think this movie is great. Like I said earlier, I loved it more this time around than I did the first time watching it, and I have not seen it in many moons. So this was like watching it fresh, and I absolutely had a ball with this movie. I mean, yeah, it's gruesome. The deaths are really more gruesome than Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was a couple of years before this. So, basically, I think the plot synopsis on IMDb is pretty good for this one. So, a psychotic redneck who owns a dilapidated hotel in rural East Texas kills various people who upset him or his business, and he feeds their bodies to a large crocodile that he keeps as a pet in the swamp beside his hotel. And that's exactly what he does in this. So, um, he basically worked with a lot of the same people behind the scenes as he did with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But we got a lot of recognizable names in here too. And of course, Neville Brand plays Judd, the crazy guy that has the hotel with the crocodile. Mel Ferrer plays Harvey Wood. Carolyn Jones plays Miss Hattie, the head of this whorehouse, basically. Marilyn Burns returns in this movie as Faye. William Finley as her crazy husband. I never did understand what exactly was going on with him. Stuart Whitman plays Sheriff Martin. Kyle Richards plays Angie, and she's a little bitty girl on this. And of course, Robert Englund plays Buck, and we all know what Buck likes to do. Also, we've got Janice Blythe playing Lynette. Um, David Hayward plays the cowboy. So, yeah, we got once again we got a lot of recognizable names in this, or at least in my eyes, we do. Yes, TJ, exactly. Many recognizable genre performers. Um, but okay, I know Robert Englund's character Buck was the bad boy in this. You weren't really supposed to like him, but Lord help me, I did. I was, I loved the movie as a whole. It's gritty and exploitive and gruesome and all the things that us horror fans love. I'm talking about us hardcore horror fans. But I just absolutely, I mean, Robert Englund is fantastic as Freddy Krueger. That was my introduction to Robert Englund growing up. And when and he had already been on things like V, but I didn't know who he was. I just knew that, there was this alien Willie on V. I didn't associate him with Robert Englund because I didn't know who Robert Englund was at that point in time. Finding out who Robert Englund was took, I would, I saw him in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And then sometime later, I was looking at a magazine and they were like the face of Freddy and they had a picture of Robert Englund. I was like, oh, that's Robert Englund. Okay. That's the guy that plays Freddy. And then, I kind of went from there. But there are so many of these movies that I never even were on my radar. And so again, I'm so pleased to be going and being able to watch these and not only see Robert Englund's performances in them, because some of these performances are really small. Some of them not so small, some of them are small. Yes, TJ, and I think I don't know if Hooper was trying to kind of redeem the Buck character there at the end. But even though he's kind of vulgar in it and he wants women to, do kinky things with him and all of that, he never was, at least on screen, so bad that, I couldn't get some enjoyment out of watching him on the screen. Now, when he plays these all out thugs, it's a little bit harder to watch him. But he had personality in this movie and everything. But I just, when a movie that I already enjoyed, believe it or not, Robert Englund just kind of lit up the screen when he came on there because whether you believe this or not, I'm going to say it. Robert Englund is a great actor. No matter what you put him in, he's going to make that scene better. Okay. So I think Toby Hooper was really smart to put him in the role of Buck. And I had forgotten how much Buck actually shows up in this movie. So, I mean, actually, the first scene you see, you see Buck's down belt buckle. And I was like, that's Robert Englund. I know. I ain't seen this movie in years, but I knew that was Robert Englund even before they showed his face. But fun little slice of exploitation here. Um, I mean, you could not ask, I don't think, for um in my eyes, a better follow up to Texas Chainsaw Massacre than this, because this has little glints here and there of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The way it's shot, some of the audio is reminiscent. The way, sometimes even the way Judd will stalk his victims is kind of like Leatherface. Um, Very, very enjoyable little slice of exploitation horror movie history, in my opinion. And then the icing on the cake is, of course, Robert Englund's performance. Uh, Even with Hatchet, uh, well, I'm going to give that one another go when I get to it, Super Batman Nerd. I really am, because I said I was going to watch everything, except for like television shows. I'm going to cover all the movies, even TV movies that Robert Englund was in. Um, hey, Dirk. Dirk says, I finally got to meet Englund a couple of years back. Have you seen him in Zombie Strippers? I have not, but it's going to be one that I watch because, like I said, I'm covering all the movies. So Dirk, I'm trying to remember if I had heard you talk about your experience in meeting. Was it a positive meeting with England? Because I want to meet him now. Because I watched that damn Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares documentary, and now I'm like, I gotta meet Robert England. But so, what's my rating for Eaten Alive? Well, this bad boy is gonna get my top rating, and it's gonna get 5 deadites out of 5. Why? Because it's a great exploitation slash horror film. And two, it's got the great Robert Englund in it and a very sizable role for this type of film. It's not Freddy level, but he shows up in there quite a bit. Quite a bit. So, you say he was awesome, Dirk, and had to wait 6 hours, but it's because he takes his time with everyone. Yeah, and I think that's really great, especially, if you're paying X amount of money. I think that's great that people like Robert Englund will take their time with each fan that shows up to meet him. I just feel I'm still kicking myself in the ass because I didn't go up and meet him at Scarefest when he was there a year or two ago. Because I listened to the naysayers that said, "Oh, good Lord, Robert English charging for this," and if you want any more than a certain amount of words on whatever you're getting signed, he charges extra. And I stupidly took all that in and just kind of boycotted meeting him, and now I regret it because I don't know if I'm going to get another chance to meet him. Um, yeah, I'm gonna watch A Star Is Born, and actually that one's coming up uh, in the next group of three that I'm gonna be watching. Um, so for you guys that are in here watching, you'll get to be in the know before anybody else. A Star Is Born is also from '76. I will also be covering The Great Smoky Roadblock from '77, and Young Joe, The Forgotten Kennedy, also from 1977. Um, So, Batman Nerd, you say, sadly, I will never have that pleasure. What the pleasure of meeting Robert Englund? Well, why not? I mean, it could happen, unless you know something I don't. But anyway, I know that this was kind of short, but I don't have anybody on here with me tonight like I did for the Stephen King show last night. But if you guys and gals got anything that you want to ask me or talk about, or if you want to give your thoughts on these three movies, especially Eaten Alive, Kathy, if you're still in here, I'd love to hear what you thought of Eaten Alive. And I'd be happy to stay on here a few more minutes with you guys and gals. But I will say, if I do get a chance again to meet Robert Englund, I am certainly going to do so without hesitation. I'm just going to flat out stop listening to anybody when they say things. No, I have not covered the Mangler yet, Dirk. That'll be on down the road because look at this. I'm covering three each show, and this is going to go on for 33 weeks, guys. 33 weeks. Um, I was trying to see where that one's going to be at here. Where Mangler is at. That'll be week 16, actually, because the Mangler was from 1995. And I'm trying to cover them in order. You say, wow, that's killer. uh, Kathy, you say, I thought Robert was an excellent sleazy guy. I really think you're correct with your rating. Yeah, I mean, I thought that you would like it, Kathy. I really, really did. Um, it's just a fun one. It it hits all the bases. Eaten Alive does. And I kind of feel bad that I waited so damn long to rewatch this sucker because I was freaking missing out. But now I've got the Blu-ray in my hot little hand, and I think there's an interview with there there is an interview with Robert Englund. It's an archival interview, but it's called "My Name Is Buck," so I'm definitely going to be enjoying that. Uh, Super Batman Nerd, you say Robert Englund makes a cameo appearance in Chud 2, Bud the Chud. Um, Wondering if that one is on my list. I've even got short films on here that he was in. And a lot of these I'm actually looking forward to seeing. He was also in a movie called Strippers versus Werewolves, so he must have went through a spell where he did stripper movies. Now week 25 I'll be covering zombie strippers. So Katie, you say I like it, keeps moving along. Do you see yourself waiting a little while, Kathy, and actually watch it, giving it another watch? TJ, you say, I wish they explored the weird fetish kink with Burns and Finley. Yeah, I guess was that where he was acting real bizarre? Only bad thing is Carolyn Jones' old age makeup. Yeah, I don't know. Was that what they were trying to do? The old age makeup. I didn't know if they were trying to do something like she was burned or something had happened. And Kathy, you say, oh yeah, um, yeah, a lot of fun. Now, Eating Alive, I'm thinking that I might like to do a watch along at some point for Eating Alive. And speaking of like the movie munchies and stuff, I'm thinking sometime the summer coming up, I think I'm gonna do a watch along for Death Proof for one half of Grindhouse. And the movie munchies I'm gonna fix is some chicken tortilla soup because man, I ain't had any chicken tortilla soup for a while. And I fixed a double batch of it tonight, and it was just absolutely delicious. If you like soup, that is. And so I'm thinking of the weekend that I do Death Proof, I'm going to have a movie munchies for chicken tortilla soup and margaritas. I'm going to be making I think I'm going to make some watermelon margaritas, guys and gals, because I love strawberry margaritas and other flavors of margaritas, but watermelon margaritas are my absolute favorite. TJ, you say, yeah, they aged her up. You can tell by her acting voice. Uh, yeah, I'm going to be covering Dead and Buried as well. That's one of my favorites, Dirk. Dead and Buried is. Next week, I'm going to be covering A Star is Born, The Great Smoky Roadblock, and Young Joe, the Forgotten Kennedy. Let's see. I'll read off a few of these. That'll be week 3. Week 4 will be Big Wednesday, The Courage and the Passion, and Blood Brothers. Week 5 will be The Fifth Floor, The Ordeal of Patty Hearst, and Mind Over Murder. And week 6 will include Dead and Buried. Week 6 will be California Fever, Dead and Buried, and also Galaxy of Terror, which, believe it or not, I don't even think I've seen Galaxy of Terror. I may have. Week 7 will be Thou Shalt Not Kill from 1982, Don't Cry, It's Only Thunder, and The Mysterious 2. And I'll mention one more week. Week 8 will be Journey's End, The Fighter, and Starflight, The Plane That Couldn't Land. And then, week 9 and 10, of course, I'll go ahead and talk about week 9 and 10 because we're going to start getting into the more stuff that people have heard of. From 1983, I Want to Live, and Hobson's Choice will be week 9. Week 10 will be The Final Battle, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. So for you big Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street fans, you'll definitely want to tune in for that. TJ, you say Jones was only 46 in 1977. Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. She was a year younger than I am now. Durkee say huge love for Dead and Buried. There's tons of his I haven't seen. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize till I started digging into his filmography. Yeah, that's right, TJ. Galaxy of Terror has Joni from Happy Days and Sid Haig. Yes, it most certainly does. So, guys, I'll stay on here a few more seconds, but I think I'm going to leave this one at the 45-minute mark or thereabouts. But I want to thank all you guys and gals for coming in here and hanging out with me as we talked about Stay Hungry, St. Ives, and Eaten Alive, all 3 from 1976, the year I was born. So that makes all those films 47 years old. They're getting close to 50 years old, just like I am. But y'all be sure to tune in tomorrow night, as I think I'm going to do another triple threat, or not tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will be me and TJ. Sorry about that, TJ. I'm getting off on my days. Tomorrow night will be me and TJ talking about the last half of the episodes of the 7th and final season of Tales from the Crypt. Kathy, you say you enjoyed your private watch party? Well, you're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. And Thursday, I think I'm going to have another triple threat review show for Seductive Poison, The Resurgence. And Friday will be another midday with Dana and Jay. You can come in there and hang out with me and Jay for a couple hours or so. And Saturday and Sunday will be a couple watch alongs, both starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Reanimator Saturday. Roadhouse will be Sunday. And also a movie Munchies on Sunday for Deliverance. Squeal like pigs in a blanket. I know it's so wrong, but at the same time, it's so right, and I got to do it. And then also be sure to tune in to see me and Uncle Bill on the Dead Pit channel later on Sunday night talking about rape revenge films. So I got a full last half of my week and into the weekend. TJ, you say I'm going to have a stopwatch for tomorrow, only timing when we talk about crypt and not the random stuff. Blissful said no to the stopwatch. Well, TJ, I've been secretly running a stopwatch the last few that we've done. And honestly, neither one of us went on too long about any of the episodes. Tour Batman, there you say, I got baller and shot caller again. No, Dirk, I'm actually not hot for the new Roadhouse. Maybe I should give it a try, but I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't even seen the trailer for it. I think I'm too scared to see the trailer. But anyway, guys and gals, it has been fun as always. But I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. And this is for you, TJ. And I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now, and I'll see you next time.